this is filled with fluid, high viscous fluid. It may be oil. Now, the size, the length of this is x. The bearing length will be x. Diameter of the shaft, sorry, diameter of the cylinder is capital D. Diameter of the shaft is small d. What happens? We have high viscous oil filled in this cylinder and the shaft is rotating inside this cylinder. When this is rotating, we will have some torque produced. That torque will be force into perpendicular distance, that is the radius. We know that as the shaft is rotating in the circular direction, it will be associated with angular velocity, that is omega, that will be 2 pi n by 60, and angular velocity v is equal to r omega. Now, torque is force into perpendicular distance. Force, yesterday we have seen one formula, tau equal to mu into du by dy, or tau is equal to mu into v by y. Very familiar formula is this. I am rewriting this formula as tau equal to mu into v by y. In this we are writing tau as force per area. This is force. We can write shear stress as force per area. Is equal to mu into v by y. We need force F is equal to mu a v by y, but torque is equal to force into perpendicular distance. Force is mu a v by y into r. Now from this step we will be getting it as mu into v is r omega into r into a by y. With this, the torque produced by the shaft when it is rotating inside a cylinder where high viscous fluid is being immersed is mu a r square omega by y. This is a very important formula. You may get gate question for 2 marks where the sum may be like this. Some cylinder is of some x diameter and y diameter shaft is rotating inside the cylinder. There you need to find out the torque. How will you find out the torque? Is tau equal to mu a r square omega by y, where here mu stands with dynamic viscosity of the fluid, a is area of shaft. See, this area should be taken into consideration always. Whenever the shaft is in the vertical direction, the area will be pi dl, not pi by 4 d square. If you take pi by 4 d square, you will end up with a wrong answer. R is the radius of the shaft. Omega, as I told you, angular velocity omega. Omega is 2 pi n by 60. I'm writing it here again. Omega is 2 pi n by 60. 2 pi n is speed in RPM. That is the shaft speed. Y is the distance between the cylinder to the shaft. Most probably cylinder will be fixed and shaft will be at the center line of the cylinder. The distance between the shaft that is a fixed end to the center of the cylinder is y. I'll make you do one sum based on this. But a very important formula is this: torque produced by the shaft rotating inside the cylinder with a sleeve mechanism. We call this as sleeves. These are bearing sleeves, we call it as. These are your bearing sleeves. So this is about the fundamental formulae. So you people can note that mu a r square omega by y. That is the fundamental formula of shaft rotating inside the cylinder. This will be an application of Newton's law of viscosity. Next will be, yeah, we will be moving on to one sum based on viscosity. You people, if you people can take the screenshot of the question, you can take the screenshot, or else in the evening I'll be sending you the question as well as the solution also. Here in this question, he has given a piston of 60 mm diameter moves inside a cylinder of 60.1 mm diameter. 60.1 mm diameter. Determine the percentage decrease in the force necessary to move the piston when the lubricant is heated from 0 degrees to 120 degrees. From 0 degrees to 120 degrees. Mu, that is dynamic viscosity at 0 degrees is 0.0182 and 120 degrees is 0.00206. Now, what happens by seeing the question is saying the piston is inside the cylinder, that is the last concept which we have dealt. He is asking you to determine the decrease in force necessary to move the piston. He is giving you viscosity at 0 degrees and viscosity at 120 degrees. Now, any idea how we can solve this question? What is the relationship between mu and F? That is the force, decrease in force is asking. That is, decrease in force will be mostly, how we will calculate that decrease in force is F2 minus F1 by F1 into 100%. This will give you the decrease in force, but there are no forces there. Two different forces should be there, but we don't have any forces. We have only the diameter and viscosity at 0 degrees and 120 degrees. And one more thing, these questions are not previous gate questions. These are the model questions for all the PSU sectors, including GATE and IES, as well as DRDL and IAS exam and all the state level exams. Okay. What happens is this question is a depth of gate question which can be given in any type of the competitive exams. Why I am not going to teach gate exams, especially in case of in the class, is gate questions recording of all the gate questions of previous 25 years will be given to you of fluid mechanics, and every day 5 questions of practice is also been given to you. Most probably you'll get the practice questions from tomorrow. So these questions and solutions again I'll be sending you in the format of a soft copy. So coming to this question, he is asking you the change in force. So change in force or decrease in force, I have a basic fundamental formula called tau is equal to mu into du by dy. See, how can we write tau as force per area is equal to mu into du by dy? From this relation, I can clearly say F is directly proportional to mu. I wrote one formula, decrease in force, F2 minus F1 by F1. I'll alter it as mu2 minus mu1 by mu1. I can clearly write this. What is mu2 and mu1? Mu2 and mu1 are nothing but he has clearly given you at 0 degrees centigrade and 120 degrees centigrade. Initially at 0 degrees, this is mu1, this is mu2. So that will be 0.00206 minus 0.0182 by 0.0182. Here you will be getting the answer as around, you multiply also with 100%. How much percent you need to get here? You will be getting around 88.6%. This is the decrease in force which he is asking you in the question. Decrease in force necessary to move the piston is 88.6%. This is the final answer for the given question. I guess everyone understood the thing. The only topic which you people should remember is tau equal to mu into du by dy. Tau can be written as force per area, and the relationship between F and mu should be known. They are directly proportional to each other. Decrease in force, I am replacing with change in viscosity, dynamic viscosity. So final answer is 88.6%. Any doubt to any students? Please comment. You can write the solution if needed. Screenshot of the question is this: 60 mm diameter, rotating under 60.1 mm diameter, viscosity at 0 degrees and 120 degrees. Decrease in force he is asking you in the question. For this, we have done the solution in this way. The easiest way to do the solution is this way. Any doubts in this solution? Please give in the comment box. Or can I move on to the next question? You people take a screenshot of this, or you people can write the solution. That's up to you. I need a comment. Anyone has any doubt? No doubt, please keep it as clear. Yeah, okay. Next question I'm going into. Right. See this question. See this question then. The fluid obeying the equation tau equal to tau naught plus k into du by dy whole power 1 by 2 is held between two parallel plates of d meters apart. It is held between d meters apart. This is the given equation. You can copy it on your notes. It is held between d meters apart. If the stress applied on the plate is 3 tau naught, that is, he is giving tau is equal to 3 tau naught. This is the stress applied. Velocity with which the top plate moves. He is asking you the velocity v. That is the top plate which we are giving the force, the fluid as well as plate parallelly starts moving, right? He is asking you that thing now. So again, this question represents a question of viscosity concept only. The given data here is, he gave an equation tau is equal to tau naught plus k into du by dy whole power 1 by 2. This is one given data, and d meters is the distance between the plates, and tau is equal to 3 tau naught, and he is asking you to find out the velocity. This is the given data for the question, and he is asking you to find out the velocity. For this, we have a formula tau equal to mu into du by dy. Here, the equation given as tau is equal to tau naught plus k into du by dy whole power 1 by 2. He gave that tau is equal to 3 tau naught. The shear stress applied is 3 tau naught is equal to tau naught plus k into du by dy whole power 1 by 2. If this tau naught goes to the other side, it becomes 2 tau naught. 2 tau naught is equal to k into du by dy whole power 1 by 2. Now, 2 tau naught by k whole square is equal to du by dy. When this root is coming this side, it will become whole square. That will be 4 tau naught square by k square is equal to du by dy. We can write this du by dy as v by y also, no? That is 4 tau naught square by k square. When the distance between the flat plates is d, already given to you in the question. These two parallel plates are at d meters apart. He has given you. So when it goes up, it will be 4 tau naught square d by k square, that is equal to v. The velocity through which the plate is moving will be 4 tau naught square d by k square. This is the final result for the question what he has asked. This is also based on viscosity concept. This was a model from DRDO exam, DRDO exam as well as IES exam. The question is from DRDO as well as IES. The question is very clear. He gave a fundamental equation. In that equation, the shear stress to be applied onto the plate is 3 tau naught. That is what we are substituting, and the distance between the plates is d. This is the final answer. Velocity v equal to 4 tau naught square d by k square. Any doubt in this question? This is the final output. Any doubts in this question? Okay, it is clear. Done. If anyone want to take the screenshot, take the screenshot of the question. If anyone want to take the screenshot of the question, please take the screenshot. Solution screenshot. I'll be sending you these questions and solution. No need to worry about it. But you take a rough running notes. Yeah. Next question. Next question is a piston of 800 mm diameter, piston of 800 mm diameter and 200 mm long. Piston of 800 mm diameter and 200 mm long works inside a cylinder of 804 mm diameter. Cylinder is of 804 mm diameter. Piston is of 800 mm diameter with 200 mm long. Works inside a cylinder. If the annular space filled with lubricating oil of 5 centipoise. Centipoise. What is centipoise? Is it a kinematic viscosity or a dynamic viscosity? Poise is always a unit of dynamic viscosity. 5 centipoise. We know how to convert poise into Newton second per meter square. Centi is 10 power minus 2. We need to convert it into SI unit. Please do remember this. Find the speed of the piston in vertically downward direction. Take a weight of the piston as 9.42 Newton. This is the question, and is asking you to find out the speed of the piston. What we need to find the speed of the piston? We need to find the velocity, that is v. We need to find the speed v. Now, first we will be drawing the diagram for the given question. Right. When we draw a diagram, this is some piston, some cylinder of 804 mm diameter. Inside this there is some piston rotating. This piston is 804 mm diameter. The length of the piston which is inside the cylinder, this is the length around 200 mm. I'm writing it outside. 200 mm. Next, the gap filled between the lubricating oil. How much is the gap between this 804 minus, sorry, this is 800 mm. Yeah, this is 800 mm. One second, guys. Here, this is 800 mm. So the space between this annular space, 804 minus 800 will be 4 mm. That shares 2 mm one end, 2 mm on the other end. 2 mm on one end and 2 mm on the other end. Now and there is some weight force which is acting of 9.42 Newton in the downward direction. This is the data given to you. Now for this, he is asking you to find the velocity. Here, the given data for you will be mu is equal to 5 centipoise, which you need to convert it. That will be is equal to 5 into 10 power minus 3 Newton. What are the units? Newton per meter square into second. This is how you need to convert. Now, tau is equal to, that is force per area is equal to mu into V by Y. This is the formula which we have. In this, if you substitute, what we need to substitute in this? What is the force given to you? 9.42 Newton. Area. Is area given to you? Can anyone calculate the area of this? Area A will be pi d L, right? That is pi into diameter. Diameter is how much given to you? 800 mm. That will be 0.8 meter. Please be very clear. We are converting everything into meter. And length is 200 mm. We will be taking it as 0.2 meter. Area equal to pi dl. 800 mm is being converted into 0.8 meter. 200 mm length is converted into 0.2 meter. So to find the area value, what you are getting is, you people can calculate. Yes, please calculate this area and tell me here what will be the area here. It will be around 0.503 meter square. Once recheck with the values also. So it will be 0.503 meter square is equal to mu. How much is the value of mu? 5 into 10 power minus 3. Centipoise converted into Newton per meter square second. Velocity we need to find. Now the question here is, what value should I take for y? Yes, anyone knows the value, please comment here. The distance between the fixed axis or the fixed plate to the center, how much is the y distance? Anyone please can comment me what is the y value I should take here? Are you people understanding the sum or not? Please comment. If you people didn't understand, I'll explain once again. Y value is 2. Very good. Akhil Krishna, that is absolutely right answer. 2 mm. We need to change it into meter. 2 into 10 power minus 3. Now find the value of V. All the other students in the class, are you people okay with this sum? The same, again I am repeating the sum. What happened is, there is a piston of 800 mm diameter. Its length is 200 mm. Always piston will be rotating inside the cylinder. Works inside a cylinder of 804 mm diameter. The total diameter of the cylinder was 804. If the annular space is filled with lubricating oil of 5 centipoise, 5 centi is 10 power minus 2, poise to Newton second per meter square is into 0.1, that becomes 10 power minus 3. He is asking to find out the speed, that is velocity, if the vertically downward action force is 9.42 Newton. This is the data. With this data, I have drawn a diagram. In this diagram, this is the cylinder. This is the cylinder inside which there is a piston of 800 mm diameter. This is the diameter of the piston. 800 mm is the diameter of this part, okay? Piston diameter. The cylinder diameter is around 804. This is cylinder which is 804 mm diameter. That is 2 mm of gap from this end. This cylinder is always fixed, right? This is the fixed end. Y is the distance between the fixed plate. This is the distance of 2 mm from either whatever the fixed end it may be, right? And force of F, weight 9.42 Newton is acting downward, and the length of the piston, is 200 mm. This is the length of the piston. So from the given data, 5 centipoise, centi is 10 power minus 2, poise is 0.1. That will be 10 power minus 1. Finally, 10 power minus 3. F by A equal to mu into V by Y. F directly given to you in the question as 9.42 Newton. Area, have calculated the area of the piston, pi dl. D is the diameter of the piston, L is the length of the piston, and pi is 3.14. Calculating that, I got 0.503 meter square. If possible, you have calculators in your hand. You people can also calculate and tell me is it right or wrong. And mu, that is 5 into 10 power minus 3, which we have found. V is nothing but your velocity, which is to be found. This is the distance y. Y, the distance from the fixed end, it is only 2 mm. Meters you need to convert 2 into 10 power minus 3. Finally, the velocity. Anyone got the answer? Anyone got the answer? The velocity of the plate or the cylinder, 7.5 meter per second. This is the answer. I guess, yeah, very good. It is 7.5 meter per second. Everyone understood the sum. This model was asked in 2016 and 2017. Any doubts in the model of this sum? Comment please. Yes, this sum is clear. It is 7.5 meter per second is the answer for this sum. Only a new model sums I am making you do. These are the very important models. Please be very cautious while teaching the sum. Right. Lengthier sum. Please read the question twice. Very interesting question is this. Right. See here. A very large thin plate is centered in a gap of width of 12 centimeter. With a gap of width is 12 centimeter, which you need to always remember. With a different oils, of one second guys, one second. With different oils of viscosity above the plate, the ratio of viscosity of above and below filled oil is 1/3. That is 1/3 when the plate is pulled at a velocity of 48 centimeter per second. The resulting force on 2 square meter, the resulting force on 2 square meters of the plate due to viscous force on 2 square meter plate, viscous force on 2 square meters of the plate. I guess this is double time printed. There is small error in this question. This is double time printed. 2 meters space due to viscous force on the both sides is 36.5. Here what the question means is the resultant force on 2 square meters of the plate. 2 square meters is 2 meters square due to viscous force on 2 square meters of the plate due to viscous force. This line is double printed. Please omit this. Is 36.5. What will be the viscosity of two oils? If the oil filled above the plate obeys the shear stress is equal to viscosity into velocity gradient square. That is mu into du by dy whole square. And oil filled between the two plates obeys shear stress is equal to velocity gradient cube. Once you clearly read the question, omit this sentence in the middle which was underlined with red pen. A very large thin plate centered in a gap of width of 12 centimeter with different oils of viscosity above and below. That are two plates which are filled with viscosities above and below. The ratio of viscosity of above and below filled is 1/3 when the plate is pulled with a velocity of 48 centimeters per second. This is to be the ratio of viscosity of above and below filled oils is 1/3 when the plate is pulled at a velocity of 48 centimeter per second. The resulting force on 2 square meter, that is area is that 2 square meter, area is 2 square meter of the plate due to viscous force on both sides is 36.5. 36.5. What will be the viscosity of two oils? He is asking you the viscosity mu1 and mu2 when one is obeying shear stress is equal to viscosity into velocity gradient square, one is viscosity into gradient cube. Once patiently read the question, a very simple question but a longer question. I'll give you the solution. It is a very easy one. Everyone, can I go to the next slide? Can I go with the answer? Any doubts with the question here? Once I'll teach the answer, you will be clear. Now, what he gave is, first thing is force F1 is equal to mu1 viscosity into du by dy velocity gradient square into A1. Am I right? This is one first equation from the question what he has given. The second one was F2 is equal to mu2 into velocity gradient cube into A2. This is second equation. This is what he gave. And one more thing what he gave, mu1 by mu2 viscosity is filled where in the ratio of 1/3. And total force applied on the plate was F1 plus F2 is equal to 36.5. This is the total force. And area, both area A1 and A2 will be same. That will be A, that is 2 meters square. 2 meters square. This is the given data. Once now check this with this, what he has given. He has given width also 12 centimeters in the first line itself. It is there 12 centimeters width. We forgot to write that width, that is nothing but y is 12 centimeter. This is the given data. Anyone has any issue with the given data, please you can ask me with voice or with your comment also. The sum what he want to ask you is, he gave the profiles that force is mu into du by dy whole square into A1 and other way it is whole cube. This is one change what he has given in the question. The ratio of oils is 1/3. Sum of forces, it is in the line of, see, plate due to viscous force on 2 square meters of the plate. That is viscous force on area 2 square meters of the plate due to viscous force on both sides is, how much is the force given? 36.5 Newton. What will be the viscosity of two oils, that is mu1 and mu2? This is the relation between shear stress is velocity gradient square and velocity gradient cube. This is between two difference between the shear stresses. Anyone has any doubt with the given data, please message me in the comment or voice message, please. If you are clear, please give a comment. It is okay, I'll proceed. If you say it is clear, I'll proceed to the next thing. What to be done with the problem? He is finally asking you to find out the viscosities mu1 and mu2. Velocity. Velocity, please check that. When the plate is pulled with a velocity of 48 centimeter per second, have rounded. Mr. Thomas, see, this is the velocity 48 centimeters. Plate is pulled with a velocity of. Hope you found the velocity there. 48 centimeter per second. Any doubt? Okay. Yes. Anything else? Any other students? Any doubts? A lengthier question, so that's why I need to spend much time on this. It is a very easy solution, but you need to understand the question. Done. Okay, very good. So this is the data given to you. Now I want to find out mu1 and mu2 from these equations, and F1, F2, yeah, total force by equating these equations or adding these equations, I have some 36.5 given. What about A1 and A2? A1 and A2 is 2 meters square, because this is the equation given to you there. Now, my only concern is what is the value of du by dy? Du, velocity is 48. dy, y is nothing but your width. Width is given as 12, that is 4. Now substitute in equation 1 and 2. Substitute here. F1 is equal to mu1 into 4 square into area 2. And the same way, mu2 into 4 cube into area of 2. F1 and F2. Equate these two equations and find the values of mu1 and mu2, please. Yes, you people should solve it now. Any doubt here till now? Du by dy, can I take this du by dy as 4 now? 48 by 12, 48 is the velocity and 12 is the distance between the plates, width of the plate. So I know the value of F1 and F2, and I know value of du by dy, and I know the value of area A1 and A2. Substituting that and adding these two equations, what will be the value of mu1 and mu2? Can anyone tell me the answer? Is it clear? Please comment or voice message. Any numerical error you have on the screen, please message me. Calculate mu1. According to me, the answer what you need to get is mu1 is 0.0875 Newton second per meter square. According to me, this should be your answer, and mu2 should be 0.0291 Newton second per meter square. This is the values which you need to be obtained. These are the values. These are the values which you need to be obtained. Mu1 is 0. Calculation, you people can do it, please. Just substitute. I have substituted the values. This will be mu1. This will be mu2. F1 and F2. You have everything on the screen. Just take it and substitute in that equation. You will get the answer. Mu1 should be 0.0875. Mu2 should be 0.0291. Any doubts any students have, please comment. Yeah, fast. You people should be a bit fast. Any doubts? You can substitute it later if required. You can substitute with later if you require. You will get the answer. I'll send you the solution. Written, handwritten solution will be sent. But I want you people to know the question, understand the question properly, substitution properly. Substituted things should be properly understood for you. Niveda, Mahesh, Ashwati, Thomas, Vivek, comment please. Vivek, Vishwanath, clear. Yes. Did you get the answer also? Mu1 and mu2, anyone? How y will be 12? How y will be 12? See the question, please. The center, a very thin plate is centered in a gap of width 12 centimeter. Width. I'm drawing the diagram here somewhere. See. width, this is 12 centimeter, the distance y is 12, this is plate 1, this is plate 2 for suppose. So that is why I took the value of dy as 12. Ashwati, CR, Ashwati, any more doubts? 12 is the distance between the two plates. Width is that. Okay, clear, done. Anyone else? Anyone else who substituted and got the same value there? Is that answers right? Mu1 and mu2? No issues. Please substitute that so that after the class I'll be available to you. If any problem you have in that obtaining the answer, you can revert back me. Now I am moving on to the next question then. Mu2 is 0. Yeah, it should be 0.0291 only. Kiran. Ashwati sir, mu2 is 0.2625. No, I guess. Yeah, did you people properly equated the equation? 99.9% the answer should be this only. You got mu1 properly? Mu1 0. No sir, it's 0.26. Let me check 1 second. Yeah, okay, it's 2625, I guess, right? It is 0. Change this. This should be 0.26. Yes, you people are right. It should be 0.26 only. I have some calculation error, I guess. It should be 0.26. Correct this mu2. Mu1 by mu2 ratio is 1 by 3. Yeah. Mu1 is 0.0875 and mu2. Please correct mu2 value. Mu2 value should be 0.26. Yeah, you people are right. I had some calculation error. Done. Any more doubts of the sum? Any more doubts with the sum? Clear, Rao. Yeah, mu1 and mu2 values are these only. Done. YouTube is filled with two capillaries. This is a question from capillarity. I didn't discuss yet. I'll be doing it. Yeah. Coming into the concept, the next concept is kinematic viscosity. The previous question is from capillarity. We didn't do that concept yet. We will be doing that capillary concept and then I'll teach that question. The next concept is kinematic viscosity. Yes. Yesterday we have studied dynamic viscosity. That is a very important property of fluid. Dynamic viscosity, as I told you, it was just a nature called stickiness of the fluid. Now in this kinematic viscosity is the ratio of dynamic viscosity to mass density. Ratio of dynamic viscosity to mass density. It is denoted by Greek letter nu. Units are nu is equal to, what are the units of dynamic viscosity? Newton second per meter square by kg per meter cube. Yes. What is a unit of Newton? How can we write Newton? Newton is kg meter per second square. Please substitute the term here. Kg meter per second square. If you substitute in place of Newton, can anyone tell me what will be the unit here? because here it is in terms of kg. I'm changing my Newton into kg meter per second square. F is equal to ma. M units are kg, A units are meter per second square. So finally, very good, units will be meter square per second. Units are meter square per second. This is in terms of SI units, sorry, in terms of SI units. In terms of SI units. Please tell the same thing in terms of SCGS. It is meter square per second in CGS. Meter square per second is termed as Stoke. Is termed as Stoke. Behalf of the name of the scientist Navier Stoke. Centimeter square per second is called as Stoke. So how we call dynamic viscosity as poise or centipoise? In gate questions, kinematic viscosity will be referred in terms of Stoke. Stoke is centimeter square per second. One Stoke is equal to how many meters square per second? It should be 10 power minus 4 meters square per second. 1 Stoke is equal to 10 power minus 4 meters square per second. A very, very important transformation you need to remember. 1 poise is 0.1 Newton second per meter square, and 1 Stoke is equal to 10 power minus 4 meter square per second. Very, very important concept is this. So from this, can anyone tell me what is kinematic viscosity of water? Water viscosity, dynamic viscosity of water is how much? Dynamic viscosity of water is 1 centipoise. That is 1 centipoise. And density of water is 1000. So combinedly, what will be your kinematic viscosity of water? Substitute. What is mu of water? 1 centipoise. 10 power minus 3 Newton second per meter square by density of water is 1000. If the 1000 goes up, 10 power minus 3 by 1000, what will be the value? 10 power minus 6 meter square per second. This is kinematic viscosity of water. What is the kinematic viscosity of air? Air. What is dynamic viscosity of air generally? We have seen dynamic viscosity of air, right? Dynamic viscosity of air was 18 into 10 power minus 6. Nu is 15 into 10 power minus 6 meter square per second. So you people can easily write the relationship between kinematic viscosity and dynamic viscosity of water. The two important standard values which need to be always remembered. You call this as kinematic viscosity of the fluid. Any doubts in kinematic viscosity? Any doubts in kinematic viscosity? Kinematic viscosity is a ratio of dynamic viscosity to mass density. Dynamic viscosity is nothing but resistance offered by one layer of the fluid onto its adjacent layer. Empirically, we will be writing it as mu by rho, right? Mu of some standard fluids are known to us. So units are meter square per second. 1 centimeter square per second is called as a Stoke. In CGS system, to convert Stoke into SI units meter square per second, you need to multiply with 10 power minus 4. So by knowing the density and dynamic viscosity of the different fluids, I have found the kinematic viscosity of water and kinematic viscosity of air. So these are the two standard things, where dynamic viscosity of water was 10 power minus 3 Newton second per meter square or Pascal second. Dynamic viscosity of air is 15 into 10 power minus 6 Newton second per meter square. Taking that into consideration, I have finally got this as the value. Any doubts here? Right. Next topic. Very important, very interesting, confusing topic is surface tension. Right. Anyone has any idea of surface tension? What is surface tension? Any idea? Right. Net inward force on top layer. Inward force or outward force? Simple logic. See, when we see the word surface and tension, here only we have got the answer for the topic. Generally, when will you call that there is a tension in the member? When you have force in this way, you will have some tension in the member. Am I right? Whenever you pull a rope, when you tie something and pull a rope, you will be getting tension. That is, force will be acting in the opposite directions. We get tension. So, this tension caused on surface. That is, let us consider a tank, and this is water molecules or some fluid particles inside the tank. This is the free surface, the inverted triangle here. This is the free surface. Let us consider a molecule A which is totally immersed in the fluid, and there is some molecule B which is partially immersed in the fluid. That is, the bottom portion you have fluid and top portion you have air or some gas filled. Now, tension is due to forces. Am I right? Now, when we come to fluids, we have told that there will be two forces called cohesive forces and adhesive forces. Right? So, either cohesive forces nor adhesive forces which are acting on the fluid particle should make the tension on the surface. For example, you take a rubber band and stretch it. That is, both ends of the rubber band there is some force. In middle, you will be finding the tension in the rubber band. The same way, this diagram, similarly this one. Here in this, it is a vice versa. This is a water thing. Totally a molecule B is immersed and A is partially immersed. When we consider the forces on A, it is totally immersed in the fluid. The cohesive forces will be acting same on throughout the bubble or throughout the droplet of A. There is no change in forces. The forces which are acting is equal in all direction. There is no pressure difference also. When I come to the molecule B, now what happens with molecule B? When I talk about molecule B, it is filled with water at the half of the droplet. Till here it is filled with water. What happens is, these water molecules are always being attracted due to the molecules which are in the tank due to cohesive forces. When these are getting attracted in this way, to keep this bubble in stable equilibrium, we need one upward pull force. We need one upward pull force. What is this force again? See, this air molecules are filled in this bubble. Am I right? These air molecules, again, this atmosphere will be pulling it, right? Due to cohesive forces at the top here. One is due to water molecules, the cohesive forces are pulling the bubble downward. Here, the cohesive forces of air molecules, or there is some tensile pull force in the opposite direction To keep the bubble in equilibrium, the force will be acting in this direction, in the upward direction. So there is some, I'm drawing in this here, there is some pull force in the downward and there is some pull force at the upward. But whereas to make this bubble stable, this force should be a force which will always equalize the forces of the water molecules in the bottom. I'm drawing it freshly here. For suppose this is the bubble, this is the free surface. This forces, cohesive forces of water molecule should be always balanced by one force. So I'll clearly say surface tension force is tensile pull force per unit length. Units are Newton per meter. This surface tension will be due to cohesive forces of the fluid particle. Anyone has any doubts? This force is a line force. This force is a line force. This force will be balancing the molecule. For that, there will be some tension created at the free surface. At this surface, see the cursor is running. The free surface, some upward pull force and downward pull cohesive forces will create tension at the free surface of the fluid particles. So what happens is there will be formation of thin film. There will be formation of thin film. Why there will be the formation of thin film? There is some tension in between. The upward force and the downward forces are getting balanced. Upward pull force or tensile pull force per unit length is called as surface tension. Or clearly we can say that when two different interfaces of the fluid, that is first and second, that is two different interfaces like air and water come in contact with each other, the molecules at the free surface will be half filled with water molecules, half filled with air molecules. There, due to cohesive forces, these molecules are pulled upward and homogeneous water molecules will be pulling downward, due to which two forces which are acting in the opposite direction creates some tension at the surface. That phenomena you call it as surface tension, and due to this tension forces there will be formation of some film in between the or on the free surface. See this red color line, which will be easily understandable. So this thin film will be formed only when two different interfaces of fluid comes into picture. So my question here is, for suppose, see, this is what happens exactly if you will be understanding. See here, the water molecules here are attracting the other molecules in different multi directions. These are getting attracted, but here there is air, here it is a liquid. See, there will be formation of an interface at this zone. That interface called as surface tension interface. There will be the formation of, there will be a formation of thin film. What you do to observe surface tension concept is take a bowl of water. Take a bowl of water. Keep this bowl aside in the room for 1 or 2 days. Keep this bowl, please undisturb it, don't disturb it, and you will see some small molecules floating on the water. The water which are at the bottom of the glass jar will be very clear. There will be no molecules or no particles or no dirt, but something will be floating on the surface of the fluid. Why it is floating? Why it is floating? Because you have a film which is resisting the molecules to go in. So that's why there is a film. So by this you can clearly understand that due to tension or due to forces or a combination of two different interference of the fluid particle, there will be formation of a thin layer. So the best example what we can give is insects walk on water. See this diagram, there is water and the insect is walking on the water. That is due to surface tension phenomena, a tensile pull force acting per unit length. You call it as, we call it as surface tension. See, now this is a free surface. We have n number of bubbles like this. If you take a free surface, here you'll have a tensile force. Here, for each and everything, you will be having, this will be the resultant tensile force. So your force per unit length, we call it as, totally the film will be formed due to all the molecules. Addition of all the molecules form a thin film. So this phenomena is called as surface tension phenomena. Clearly, it is due to cohesive forces. When will cohesive forces change? They change with respect to temperature. If the temperature of the fluid particles changes, cohesive forces change. That's why in this experiment, which you will keep a bowl of water in your room aside, I told you undisturbed. It is always in the corner of a room. Most probably the room temperature will be maintained 2 or 3 degrees that or this way, but it is not disturbed. The pressure changes won't come, and there will be no change in temperature. You can clearly see a surface, a thin layer like surface placed on your glass bowl when you filled with water. And slowly, you people, please drop a alpin. You'll have a pin, right? Drop a pin horizontally on that water. The pin starts floating. It won't get inserted or won't go in. It will be only floating. That is the best example saying that there is a layer formed. You can see this. You have seen this many times. This is called as surface tension phenomena. When you take about surface tension, when we talk about a line forces, we are calling it as force per unit length. If you take total 360 I mean three-dimensional bodies, 360 degrees of the bowl, it will be energy per unit area. Energy per unit area, that is, energy is joule per area meter square. Energy per meter square, you can call it as in case of three-dimensional object. Most of the time we will be expressing it as line force, and this force is always a tensile pull force acting per unit length is called as surface tension. Inward forces will be due to cohesive forces. To stabilize these cohesive forces only, we will be using an outward tensile pull force. For the best example which you can give for a surface tension is your water droplet. Whenever you see rain, the rain molecules will be in this way at a certain height. When it is coming nearer to your earth surface, it becomes spherical. Why it is becoming spherical from this shape to spherical shape is due to surface tension phenomena. Cohesive forces will be acting more. The pressure difference will be coming. The spherical shape will be coming out for the fluid particles from this shape is due to surface tension phenomena. This surface tension phenomena is involved in formation of liquid droplet or water droplet, formation of soap bubble, liquid jet, and capillarity. These are the these are the these are the cases where surface tension phenomena is always being taken into consideration. Surface tension phenomena will form a liquid droplet whenever rain is appearing and rain is falling from your terrace. Look at the rain molecule. It will not be a round spherical shape. When it is coming nearer to your earth surface, it becomes spherical. A pressure difference and high cohesive forces will be making there. The surface tension force is making your formation of soap bubble or liquid droplet or capillarities or liquid jet. Liquid jet is nothing but atomized fluid particles coming out from nozzle. When you keep nozzle, water will be coming out from a nozzle with very high force, high velocity. What happened? There will be a tiny droplets coming. That droplets are formed due to surface tension phenomena only. This surface tension will change with respect to temperature. One thing what you always should remember is surface tension of water is around 0.0736 Newton per meter. At 30 degrees centigrade. This is very important. At room temperature, it is 0.0736. The same surface tension of water will be around 0.0589 Newton per meter at 100 degrees centigrade. At 100 degrees centigrade, whereas surface tension of mercury will be around 0.49 Newton per meter square at 30 degrees centigrade. So these are the values of different temperatures and water. Water generally we will be taking at room temperature. This is 0.0736. Generally surface tension phenomena, this surface tension phenomena is inversely proportional to temperature. If temperature increases, surface tension decreases. This is again a very important note. Interview question will be this: what is the relationship between surface tension as well as temperature? Okay, this is a property only which exists at surface, which exists at a surface to exert tension. This is nothing but surface film. Generally, we call it as surface film to exert tension, right? Surface tensions of three different temperatures and the molecules are being seen. Do you have any doubts still here? Surface tension concept, do you have any doubts? Surface tension force is nothing. Surface tension is nothing but a line force, tensile pull force per unit length. It is due to cohesive forces and units are Newton per meter. Surface tension of water is 0.0736 Newton per meter at 30 degrees centigrade. At 100 degrees, 0.0589. Please note these values. Very important interview questions are this. Surface tension of mercury at 30 degrees will be 0.49 Newton per meter. Surface tension phenomena is acts in formation of liquid droplets, formation of soap bubble, capillarity, and liquid jet. This is nothing but a small interface, like thin film will be formed between two different interfaces of the fluid particle. Always we need to have two films, two films, in the sense two different interfaces to get that film. Air and water. Again, if you take petrol and water, in that way two different liquids you need to have to form the surface tension. Most of the time 0.0736 at 30 degrees centigrade. This, some authors will be giving you 20 degrees, some authors will be giving 25 degrees, some authors will give you 30 degrees. No problem, it is ranging from 20 to 30 degrees you can take, right? Till here, any doubt? And one more thing, surface tension will be acting always normal to the free surface. Yes, you people can easily see here, always normal to the free surface. Any doubts in surface tension phenomena, you people can text in the comment or ask by voice message, or switch on your microphones. Very important concept is surface tension. Please go through it. Any doubts you can ask me now. Anyone feeling the class it is fast also can stop me. That's why I'm repeating twice or thrice of the concept, that you will be very clear with. Still anyone has any doubts with surface tension? Best example of surface tension: take a bowl and keep it in a, take it, fill it with water and keep it in a room aside, and please watch it after half day or one day. You will be seeing the interface. Yeah, very important. This surface tension concept will lead to different concepts, like as I told you, 4 different cases we will be studying now. Yeah, Sujit, it is clear to you. Other students, any doubts can message me. Clear. Ashwati, do you feel the class is fast today? Is it okay to you now? Yeah, done. Yeah, anyone else, any doubts in surface tension? Note that values, the values are very important there. 0.0736. Done. So next we are going to study case 1. Case 1, formation of liquid droplet. Formation of liquid droplet. We can call it as water droplet also, or water bubble also. See what happens in case of water bubble. This is a water bubble. Most of the times, water bubble looks spherical due to surface tension. See what I told you, surface tension is nothing but pull force, tensile pull force. This is the surface tension force. That is, always surface tension will be acting at the circumference, right? Now, and see this diagram here. Surface tension force is denoted as sigma. I also gave it as sigma only. Sigma is equal to F by L. Okay. Don't get confused with the diagram here. Why I am taking this diagrams are to make you more clear, because if you are not very clear with my drawing, this drawing which is adjacent to my drawing will give you. Here the sigma means surface tension. For me, I am telling it as sigma. Surface tension force is acting outward. What happens? The same, this bubble is filled with water, right? Suppose it is a water droplet. There will be some pressure force inside the bubble. There will be some pressure force inside the bubble. That means I can clearly say that total pressure is greater than atmospheric pressure. So surface tension force is pulling out, pressure force is pulling in. Until or unless surface tension force is equal to pressure force, bubble will be in spherical condition. It won't burst. Suppose when this surface tension forces are high and pressure forces are less, or vice versa, what happened? There will be change in shape, that is spherical shape. Now what pressure is required to make the liquid droplet shape perfectly as circular? We need to find it. For that, what I am doing is, for equilibrium condition, surface tension force is equal to pressure force. I am keeping surface tension force is equal to pressure force. What is surface tension? Sigma equal to F by L. Surface tension force will be sigma into L. What is pressure force? Pressure is normal force per unit area. That is P into A. Sigma into total length will be how much for a circular member? Pi d. And area is pi by 4 d square. Equate it. P equal to 4 sigma by d. If P equal to 4 sigma by d, if this pressure is maintained in the bubble, it will be of spherical shape. If not, it will burst. A very, very important formula. P equal to 4 sigma by d. When I take the cross section in this figure, you can clearly understand sigma is acting outward. That is nothing but surface tension force. Some pressure force is acting inward. That is nothing but pressure force. When this bursts, this is the cross section, and 4 sigma by d is the pressure required to make the liquid droplet in equilibrium. Generally, the best example what I can give you is, whenever we stand on the bank of the river and observe the flow, suddenly when the fluid is flowing, there will be formation of droplet like this. Water droplet will be formed. You keep on observe that water droplet, it will be moving with respect to the free surface of the water and suddenly burst off. That means the velocity of the fluid particle is getting increased, the pressure is getting decreased. Whenever the pressure is decreasing, cohesive forces will increase of surface tension, so that it is bursting. So for a certain period of time, that will be moving very clearly without any deformation in the shape. But whereas suddenly when the flow is getting increased, it will burst. And one more example, the best thing again I can give you, when we wash our body or wash our hands in a washroom, what happens, we have a washroom flooring in such a way that there will be a drain pipe here, the water will be flowing here. When we bath, there will be a sudden form of droplet. This droplet will be coming nearer to this hole where water is draining off, but to certain extent the drop does not deform, but suddenly when it is passing nearer to the drain hole, this will disappear. Why it is disappearing? There is a high velocity of water, velocity will be more, it should, the floor of the washroom is designed that water need to go off. So when the velocity is getting increased, there will be change in pressure. When there is change in pressure, there will be change in surface tension force, which will deform and even burst the liquid droplet. So minimally what you need to measure keep is pressure should be 4 sigma by D. Sigma, if suppose it is a pure water, it at a 20 to 30 degrees centigrade, 0.0736 diameter of the bubble, you can assume any diameter. So for that diameter, the pressure you can calculate very easily. This is about the formation of liquid droplet. Any doubts in liquid droplet? You people can comment any doubts in the formation or pressure required to keep the bubble in equilibrium. This pressure intensity should be maintained to keep the bubble in equilibrium. If that pressure is not maintained, it will burst. Is it clear? Can I move on to the next concept? No doubts, right? Other students, only 2 or 3 students are giving me it is clear. Okay, but I don't know other students, are you people getting it or not? If not, you can, I'll again explain you the concept. These are very important concepts. Going on to the next concept, case 2. Formation of soap bubble. Right. I guess you people have played with soap bubble many times, right? You people play with soap bubble. We will insert a small straw in soap water and you blow out. What happens when you blow out? Some bubble will be coming out. That bubble will have 2 surfaces, if I am not wrong. If I am not wrong, that bubble should have 2 surfaces like this. Right. Sir, we didn't see. See, when you see a soap bubble, inside the soap bubble, that is this white circumferential area, you see some rainbow colors, pink, green, violetish shades you will be having. At the top of the bubble, it will be pure water color. Am I right? Did you people went through this anytime? In this soap bubble, surface tension force will be acting outward in this way only. Why I am telling it as 2 surfaces? Because when soap bubble, you are playing with the soap bubble, what happens when you see that soap bubble keenly, there will be inside rainbow shades you will be having, and outside you will be having a clear water. That means I can clearly say that there are 2 interfaces. This much of gap won't be there, but to make you clear, I have drawn this. So outward forces are surface tension force, inward forces are your pressure forces. Until or unless surface tension force is equal to your pressure force, bubble will be in equilibrium condition. Now, please do this experiment and tell me what happens tomorrow. Take a straw, take a soap bubble, take soap solution, insert the straw, and you you give out that solution out into your atmosphere. What happened? The bubble will be will start flowing out in the atmosphere. to certain height, there will be no deformations nor no change of shape in the bubble. Suddenly, after certain extent, what happened? Bubble bursts. Why? As the height is getting increased, there is change in pressure. If there is change in pressure, there is change in surface tension, and that bubble is getting bursted. That can clearly know. See, when you play inside your room, what happened inside your house? You play, the bubble will go up till the slab, touch the slab, and burst. That means to that extent there is no problem. Whereas you go outdoor and you play the same thing, bubble starts moving up to a certain extent and suddenly it bursts off. So this happens only due to change in pressure. When there is change in pressure, there will be change in surface tension. For this, surface tension force will be sigma into L, and pressure force will be normal force per force into, sorry, pressure into area. Now, sigma into L is the circumference. How many circumferences you have here? Two circumferences, inner diameter and outer diameter. Both are very equal. Here I have given you to see that you will be having the interface. See this diagram which I have given, the figure which is induced in the PPT. Here, see the thickness, very, very, very less thickness. There is some pressure force and surface tension force. See the thickness of the bubble, very less. That neglected thickness will be, inner diameter will be equal to outer diameter. So I'll say 2 pi d, that is 2 times the circumferential length. P into area is pi by 4 d square. What you will be having? P is equal to 8 sigma by d. P is equal to 8 sigma by d. This is the formula for soap bubble. Pressure to be obtained for soap bubble. What happens is the surface tension value for soap solution and air, sigma value for soap solution and air interface is taken as 0.025. This is at room temperature, 20 to 30 degrees centigrade. Soap solution you will be taken as 0.025. So this sigma value, and it should be in air only. Again, if you keep in any vacuum or in any other inert gas, that value changes. So this is regarding the formation of soap bubble. These two formulas are very, very important. Any doubts? Any doubts in soap bubble? The next concept is liquid jet. Formation of liquid jet. For sir, once again, inside there is an air water interface, right? So should not there be surface inside? I didn't get your question properly, Mahesh. Can you please repeat it? Inside there is an air water interface, right? So should not there be surface tension inside too? Which inside? You are asking inside the soap bubble, or please switch on your microphone and ask me. Inside the bubble. Inside the bubble, there will be no surface tension because all the molecules are of same. When I'm coming back, see the screen, see your screen now. See this diagram. Inside the bubble, all the molecules are same, water molecules. When all the molecules are same, you don't have anything called other forces. All the forces are homogeneous. Homogeneous material will be there, and you all have cohesive forces equal in all the directions. What do you mean by surface tension? When there is two different phenomena, I am telling, some of the bubble is filled with water, some is filled with air. Whereas in case of this air liquid droplet, outside it was totally air. inside the soap bubble. Inside the soap bubble, why there will won't be a surface tension? Inside the soap bubble, see, let this be the inside parameter. This is totally soap solution, right? This is totally soap solution. The interface will have some water. This is totally soap and water. Interface will have some air. Soap and air, two different interfaces are there. Again, why won't be surface tension? And that surface tension is also at the outer part, not at the inside. Inside the soap bubble, you don't have any surface tension. You have pressure itself. That's it. Because all the inside material is soap water only. That is soap molecules only. No other molecules are there. Soap molecules, and this, again, I'm telling you, this thickness, two different layer thickness is very, very less. Outer is air, inside is soap water, mixed, very well mixed soap water. So that's why we are getting the surface tension only at the outside. Inside the soap bubble, no surface tension won't be there. Inside, all the molecules are cohesive, and there will be always unique behavior inside. Outside only, due to different interface, you will be having surface tension. Any more doubts, you can ask me. If you ask, switch on your microphone and ask. If you can't, type it. One thing always you students should remember, surface tension phenomena only occurs with the two different interfaces. Inside the bubble, nothing other interface will be there. The same homogeneous material, same homogeneous molecules will be there. No need to worry about it. Only surface tension acts on the surface. I already gave you the note point. Surface film is nothing but your surface tension. The tension will be only on the surface when two different materials or molecules come into picture. If not, you won't have surface tension. In this bubbles also same way. Inside, all are unique. Outside, air molecules are coming. It is forming a surface tension between air molecules as well as water molecules, or soap molecules and air molecules. That's it. Any more doubts to anyone else? Yeah, next is liquid jet. Liquid jet, pressure to be maintained is 2 sigma by d. Not too important. That's why I'm giving you the formula directly. P equal to 2 sigma by d. Sigma is surface tension. D is the diameter of the liquid jet. P is the pressure required to maintain the liquid jet. P is equal to 2 sigma by d. This is the value for liquid jet. So 3 applications of surface tension, and surface tension can be measured by a instrument. Can anyone tell me surface tension of a liquid can be measured by an instrument? What instrument we use? Anyone can comment? Tensiometer. And another measurement called as stalagometer. Tensiometer and stalagmometer are the experimental instruments to measure surface tension of liquids. This surface tension can be measured with tensiometers or stalagmometers. Okay, this is regarding the application of surface tension phenomena. Right? Any doubts till now? Surface tension and application. It is 7:05 today. Okay. Any doubts you have in surface tension? Today's class, we have done with 3 questions. The first question was this. We were talking about decrease in forces, percentage of forces. Hope this sum was very clear to everyone. The next question was this question, where the fluid was flowing between 2 parallel plates. Some shear stress is applied. He asked to find out the velocity. Next question was some piston and cylinder arrangement. He's asking again to find out the velocity. This all will be sent to you in terms of notes. This question was a bit confusing to you people. I'll send this question again in WhatsApp or mails for you people. Read the question properly. A very easy question. He gave only the profiles of the forces. He gave you the area. He gave you du by dy and asked you to found mu2. A small error was there. It was 0.26, which I got 0.029 there. Just change that. That's it. This was a YouTube manometer with capillarities. We didn't discuss the capillarities, so I didn't discuss the question. I'll do it tomorrow. We have done with kinematic viscosity and surface tension. Surface tension, there were 4 cases to be discussed. We have done with 3 cases. 4th case will be done to you in the next class. Any doubts in surface tension till now? Formation of liquid droplet, formation of soap bubble, and formation of liquid jet. Tensiometer and stalagnometer is used to find the surface tension for the liquid and air interfaces. Any doubts till this class? If it is clear, please comment. Any doubts, you people, please switch on your microphones and can ask the doubts. Any comments regarding the class? Any modulations to be need? You people can message me in the comment or switch on your microphone. Why you have multiplied with 2 in case of soap bubble? Ashwin, see, in case of soap bubble, as I told you an example, when generally you play with soap bubbles, what happened? The soap solution will have one interface and air will form or water will be forming one interface, right? As I told you an example, take a soap solution. In that soap solution, what happens? You will have 2 different layers. What are the 2 different layers you will be having? Outer layer will be pure white like water, and inside you will be seeing a different shades of soap detergent molecules. What happens is the 2 films will be formed with a very less thickness in case of soap bubble. That's why when I was showing you the diagram, see this diagram, that is the printed diagram which I have inserted in the PPT. See, there are 2 different thickness of the soap bubble with a very less thickness. The inside one is due to soap detergent and outside one is due to water, because soap and water is getting mixed up and forming the bubble, and outer part will have some air molecules or atmospheric molecules. So the 2 different circumferences are there. That's why we have multiplied with the 2 here. Generally, I told you inner diameter, outer diameter. It should be pi d inner plus pi d outer because of soap and water. So that's why I have multiplied. Di and d naught are similarly very, very, very nearer values. So that's why di should be equal to d naught. Yeah, is it clear, Ashwin? Done. Anyone else? Any more doubts? Yes. Thank you, students. Any more doubts, you can revert back in WhatsApp or mails. I'll be sending you today's notes and sums which we have solved in WhatsApp as well as mails. Any new student wants to get the material